In this world, the bubonic plague stays confined to isolated regions in Asia, sparing Europe and the Middle East. Without the catastrophic population loss, Europe avoids the social upheaval and economic shifts that could have destabilized feudalism. The power of nobility and the church remains unchallenged, and Europe's trajectory continues firmly on a medieval path. With no demographic shock to disrupt the social order, feudalism thrives. Peasants, without the leverage to demand higher wages, remain bound to their lords, and feudal hierarchies stay intact. Castile sets its sights southward, initiating a series of campaigns to expand into North Africa. Driven by both a fervor for conquest and a desire to control the profitable Mediterranean trade routes, Spain launched what becomes known as the African Reconquista. These campaigns see Spanish forces gradually pushing into Morocco, clashing with Berber and Arab forces who are determined to defend their homeland. Over the next 17 years, the African Reconquista takes over large parts of Morocco, creating fortified cities along the Moroccan coast. This ongoing conflict between Castile and the local Berber tribes sets the stage for a unique cultural and economic exchange. Although Castile enforces Christian rule over its Moroccan territories, a distinct Iberian Berber culture begins to emerge along the coast, blending Andalusian influences with local traditions. The Moroccan interior, however, remains fiercely resistant, and frequent skirmishes erupt as Berber tribes raid Castilian outposts, leading to a prolonged conflict that keeps North Africa on edge. While European monarchies enforce a conservative order that becomes the basis for what is known as noble stewardship. In this system, the nobility and monarchs of kingdoms such as England, France, Spain, and Germany act as protectors of the social hierarchy, ensuring stability and security in exchange for loyalty and service. Across the Mediterranean, the Ottoman Empire observes Spain's expansion with concern. Though the Ottomans are a dominant force in the eastern Mediterranean, they see Spanish conquests in North Africa as a direct threat to their influence. This rivalry eventually leads to a protracted series of conflicts known as the Maghreb Wars, where Ottoman forces lend support to Moroccan resistance fighters in an effort to curb Spanish influence. These conflicts transform North Africa into a volatile region, with Moroccan rebels, Spanish forces, and Ottoman-backed militias vying for control. Spain leads the way in the age of exploration, setting off expeditions across the Atlantic. In 1511, Spanish explorer Diego Aldana reaches the New World, his journeys marking the beginning of European colonization. Soon after, other European nations, including Portugal, France, and the United Kingdom, joined Spain in establishing colonies along the coasts of the New World. In France, the polymath Étienne Lavalier makes groundbreaking advancements in optics and invents the camera in 1641. Italy unifies in the late 1600s under King Alessandro I. Inspired by unified nations like France and Spain, Alessandro brings together the fragmented Italian states through diplomacy and strategic alliances, creating a strong Italian kingdom by 1720. Italy quickly joins the race for colonial influence, establishing settlements in the Americas and parts of Africa, blending Italian culture with those of its colonies. Germany unifies shortly after Italy, under the leadership of Kaiser Maximilian IV von Falkenrath. Wilhelm's combination of military strategy and diplomatic acumen brings the German principalities together, establishing the German Empire as a powerful nation by the early 1700s. By the late 1700s, settler communities in the colonies begin seeking independence from European rule. The settlers, alongside indigenous allies, call for freedom from monarchic control. In the early 1800s, a revolutionary war erupts in North America, leading to the eventual declaration of independence. The new nation adopts the name Aldania, honoring Diego Aldana the Great Explorer. As Aldania becomes a democratic republic, its leaders enshrine principles of freedom, unity, and self-reliance. With its rapidly growing economy and diverse population, Aldania rises as a major power in the New World, rivaling European influence. Meanwhile, in Northern Europe, a radical new ideology takes root. In the Nordic countries, a group of philosophers and political figures develop a worldview known as human abnegation, a nihilistic belief that humanity is a destructive force on Earth. Driven by a sense of environmental fatalism and disillusionment with European expansionism, These thinkers advocate for policies that limit population growth, restrict technological development, and discourage human impact on the natural world. By the late 1800s, the human abnegation movement gains significant influence in Scandinavia. Monarchies are abolished in favor of the Nordic Union, a council-led confederation of Denmark, Sweden, and Norway that implements extreme policies to reduce human activity and population. The Nordic Union's leaders view humanity as inherently harmful, promoting a bleak, anti-human philosophy that prioritizes the Earth's ecosystems over human welfare. The Nordic Union's radical ideology eventually leads to conflict with the rest of Europe. In the early 20th century, the Nordic Union begins targeting European infrastructure, aiming to disrupt economic systems and spark revolts against monarchies and democratic governments. Europe's monarchies and the newly independent Aldenia see the Union's actions as a grave threat to human progress and stability, and tensions quickly escalate. In 1925, war erupts as the Nordic Union sends in its so-called Rensing battalions, marking the beginning of the Great War. The Great War is marked by brutal tactics, with the Nordic Union employing massive amounts of troops to the front lines. Europe's monarchies, led by Germany, France, Italy, and the powerful Aldenian Union, counter the Nordic Union's sabotage with advanced technologies, steam-powered artillery, and mechanized forces. Battles rage across northern Europe, and Aldenia lends crucial support, supplying technological innovations and resources to the European powers. After years of intense fighting, the Nordic Union is finally defeated. The Union's territories are occupied, and human abnegation is formally outlawed across Europe. Aldenia emerges as a global power, its democratic ideals and economic strength setting it apart as a leader on the world stage.